live. Now let me see if I can't make this a little bit more bright in here for y'all. Hi, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I don't speak French. Like, the fact that I get all my ads, 90% of ads when I open up a YouTube, even my own, 90% of the ads come up in French because I live in Quebec. This is a perfect example of trying to structure things for the majority while cutting out the minority. Right? I'm a minority in my own country. Hey, hey, hey! Let me just pop out the chat here. And, oh, wait a second. No, I should pop out the participants, right? Give everybody a few minutes to get in. So, I got bread in the oven. So this is going to get interrupted in about 20 minutes. I got to take my bread out of the oven. And I'm making the comfrey oil today. So that's going to be on our half-acre homestead, hopefully tomorrow. Hey, hey, hey. All right, so we got 23 people here. I'm going to wait a few more minutes because I don't really want to start any topics until, you know, most folks are here. Because, hey, Jean Kubicek. So I'm making comfrey massage oil. Really, really easy to make. And I've got bread in the multigrain bread. I did 2 loaves of bread, and then I did a bunch of like hot dog lengths in a cake pan, but I think they're going to end up being sandwich buns for Howie's lunch. All right, we're up to 35 people, so let's pop out. Right now, remember, if you want me to say hi back, please, please, please. Hang on a second. What's this going to do? Does that make me too yellow? Please, please, please say hi. Come into the chat. Say hello, everybody. And that way your name will be on the active participants list that I'm going to pop it right now and start saying hi to everybody. Let me just, wait a minute. How do we do this? Pop it out. And then participants. Here we go. Awake and Baking. You sound just like me. Black Rock, Celeste, Chandy, Jean Kubicek, Jill V, Joanne, Julie Scugia, Candy, hi, Linda Bop, hello, my darling, Lori Lazor, McChesney, Marianne, Matthew, Michelle Maria, Paul Armendariz. You're going to have to spell that phonetically for me, sweetheart. Charlene Weber, Sherry Leach, Stacy Robbins, Teresa, Tigger Bouncin', and very Celtic lady. Hi, 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 everybody. Now I'm going to make this into the live chat and say, how's it going? So, 13 days and counting before I go see my kids. Well, Bubba and Arthur and Mel. Hey, Katrina, babe. Connie, Donna. Hi, hi, hi. So, 2 live chats in a row. I didn't have another live chat today. Although, I'm going to ask if folks want another Little House Live bedtime story tonight. We'll see. Hey, Mary Jane. Hi. Sherry Leach, Sherry baby. Becky, hi, hi. So I have comfrey oil slow cooking right now in a double boiler. Supper is going to be pork goulash, because I'm out of burger and I'm not going shopping, and there's going to be no shopping until Friday. And I don't buying hamburger at the store. I really, really don't. So the next time I think I'm going to go through my freezer and find out what, how he says, oh, I said, I might grind up one of them roasts. He goes, no, we'll eat roast. And I said, and then we get 4 meals out of it. I grind one up and I can probably get 5. So my birthday is tomorrow. Are you going to sing for me? Absolutely. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Becky. Happy birthday to you. Mwah. And many more. Keep coming back, we used to say. So, yeah, the timer's going to go off on my bread, so I'll have to disappear for a couple of minutes, and then I'll be putting water on for the macaroni for my goulash. I don't actually have time to, I don't actually have time, got a tickle there, to let it cook, the macaroni cook in the goulash, so you're welcome, sweetheart. Happy birthday. How old are you going to be, 29? You always know how to squeeze those nickels out of quarters. Absolutely, Linda. And Seashell Surf sends her regrets. She's got some things going on with her hula sisters today, but she sends her love. Matthew, does anyone know what the big heart is next to the chat box? I don't know. What heart next to the chat box? I don't see no big heart next to the chat box. Let me see. I don't see no heart. It would be nice if I saw it, but I don't see no heart. Mine used to be there, and it goes now. Pop out chat. And then we'll put it on. Whoops, no, I don't want you that big. I want you over here, right behind the tripod, so I can see everything that's going on. Mine used to be there, and it's gone now. What's gone now? It's a pain in the butt being there. Being where? I don't get it. I'm missing something. You can change it to a party hat and a smile. Weird. I have no idea what that is. This is like, here's me giving all my love to you. There's that. I don't see a heart beside the chat. I really don't. I don't. So, bottom right corner. Nope, I don't see nothing. I don't see it. But I'm seeing hearts floating up and all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not seeing it in the chat. So I just got off the having FaceTime with Mel and Bubba, and we think these two teeth are coming in. He's got these two, and now these two are coming in. Paula Armandaris, did you spell that out for me? What's annoying? I don't understand. Well, can you click on it, and what does it do? It's on the cell phone. Oh, maybe just on phones. Maybe. It gets in the chat's way. Well, can you not turn your phone sideways and make the chat bigger? So, I'm hoping to go swimming after this, before supper, so that because that one thing it's breaking, and I mean, I've always, like, yeah, I lean all my weight on that railing of the pool stairs to get out, and I've had those pool stairs for years, but now it's decided, it's listing starboard, or is it, I don't know, but it's listing fore and aft or whatever. And I'm terrified that if Howie's not here and I try to get out of the pool and I push on that, it's going to snap, and I'm going to break my ribs or get really badly hurt. So, hey, Jessica, how are you, darling? It's on my iPad, but not in the way. So, yeah. Oh, that must be annoying, is just send up hearts. Well, I do see hearts and 100%s going by. So, had a lovely talk with my sister last night. It turns out that my nephew's birthday party is in Toronto. So there is absolutely no way we're going to be able to go. It's also on the same day as Nan's 85th birthday, and we're trying to figure out a way of going to that. It's much closer, and it is Nan's 85th birthday, right? But a trip to Toronto is out of the question. I screenshot it. I'll send it to you in Messenger. Okay, sweetheart. Okay, that's what it's for. Hey, Stacy. Hi, honey. Barefoot chickens. Barefoot. I love that song. So, yeah, it's been yesterday I got my toilet cleaned, my tub cleaned, and my sink cleaned, and my carpet vacuumed. I got my dishes done, and today I've made bread, multigrain bread, and buns, and I'm making comfrey oil. Look at all those beautiful hearts. Thank you, Julie. Hi, Celeste. How's it going? So, I think somebody mentioned yesterday that they're working on a water soluble form of powder. So I started doing my own research on that, and I just may have it in the bag. So you harvested your first zucchini, bravo! On it like this. But oh my God, after I pruned my zucchinis, it was like, instead of being this great big umbrella of little umbrellas, it's now kind of an umbrella, but it's up above the roots, which is nice. Bev, can you see my question? All right, let me back up here. No, it might have been too long. Tigger, they will bump it out if it's over 100 characters in capitals. If you do it all in capitals, you only get 100 characters to get your message out, and that's including punctuation and spaces. And if it's in small print, then you only get 200. So no, I didn't see your question, honey. I didn't I see no question from you, honey, except did I see your question? So you may want to repeat it and maybe a shorter version. Good grief, Bev. How are you doing all that work with a lame knee? Very slowly. My house is a mess. Very slowly. Howie and I are going to clean. He's going to help me clean up next weekend. We're going down to see Nan's 85th birthday. I mean, I threw her 60th, her 70th, her 75th, you know. And I've thrown a lot, like, you know, Nan spent a lot of birthdays up here. And even when we didn't have a party, she always had, like, you know, cake and dinner and cake and all that stuff. So it's kind of nice that somebody else is going to do it for a change. It's just a bitch I got to travel so far to get to it. I was checking the garden yesterday. I have green beans, kidney beans, and a lot of peas growing. Well, my beans are climbing. And it's really weird because the scarlet runners and the spotted runners, there wasn't that many, but they got nice big leaves and they're going up and they're already hanging at the top of the trellis I made. But the Cherokee Trail of Tears and the purple peacock they're smaller leaves and they're not climbing as fast. They're all starting to climb though. I got a hole in my broccoli stalk. Can you freeze that, or is it bad? Oh, you mean up the center? I don't see why not, as long as you peel it. Has anyone tried to make homemade MREs? I matched Trail Grazer. It was cool. I'm going to give it a shot. What's an MR? Oh, meals ready to eat. I've made meals ready to eat. I've cooked rice in vegetable broth or chicken broth. You got to make sure there's no fat in that chicken broth. And then dehydrated the rice. And then added dehydrated meat and dehydrated vegetables. And I made those for a friend who was a cyclist. Matthew, honey, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Well, thank you, darling. I appreciate that very, very much. That will go a long way in this half acre household. And yes, I still call it our half acre homestead. God bless you, Matthew. Thank you so very much. Um, do you want a card, Matthew? I don't, I usually do those Thursday nights, but do you want a card? Um, what was I talking about before that? Before I got blindsided by love? No, that's a big blessing, sweetheart. That's a big blessing, and I thank you for it. Never ever underestimate my gratitude, right? Um, what were we talking about? Oh, ready to eat meals. And there was a friend of how he worked with at another shop who was a long range cyclist, and he wanted ready to eat meals. So I made him chicken and rice, right? Because I dehydrated home canned chicken. And when it's home canned chicken, for some reason it rehydrates better. But you got to be really careful about how you cut it up into cubes when you dehydrate it, right? Everything has to be fat free. And all he had to do was carry a thermos. Like he told me how much his thermos would hold. I said, all you got to do is, you know, put amount, like, and he says his thermos is 16 ounces. So I would make him 8 ounces or a cup of this dehydrated thing, and he would just pour it into the thermos of the boiling water and put the lid on. And then when he made his next stop, he had a meal. He just took the lid off, like one of those wide mouth thermoses, and he'd just take the lid off and eat it. And he thought that was amazing. And I've made homemade hamburger helper too. So there you go. Do you get that immediately, or do you have to wait? That will come on. I will get that on my YouTube paycheck. I'll get that on my YouTube paycheck around the 24th. So I'm willing to wait. And I appreciate it. I really do. So, yeah, ready to eat meals are really cool. I learned to make them when Briar lived in Toronto, and he even when he was working, he barely had enough money. Like, he paid his rent, one paycheck or two paychecks, I can't remember. He'd pay his rent, and once a month he had to pay his portion of the hydro bill. And that would leave him, that paycheck would leave him with like $25 to live on for 2 weeks, right? And he was living on noodles and sriracha and mayo, right? So every once in a while he'd say, Mom, can you shoot me $25? And I'd say, yep. And because he'd go to, right? And he'd always want to pay me back. I said, no. So one day I made up all of these ready to eat meals. Not sure how what works. Yeah, I would throw them in the freezer until you got a big bunch of them and then can something with them. Well, I made Briar the chicken and rice, which was rice cooked in vegetable or fat-free chicken broth. If you're going to use your own chicken broth, make sure that you put the jar in the fridge and that you can take the fat off the top, because fat is not your friend with dehydration. Okay? Hey, Claire Quinn, how are you, darling? Lacey Black, Renita Madrid. So I made him fortified dehydrated rice, and I put dried onions and dried peppers and dried carrots, like dried vegetables, dehydrated vegetables in the bag, and dehydrated chicken. And then I would measure all the dehydrated ingredients, right? Say there was a cup of dehydrated ingredients, then he would use 2 cups of boiling water. And then he would just pour boil, bring to a boil 2 cups of boiling water and dump a cup in, and he would have a meal. And that was, I sent him probably about 6 of the chicken and rices, and then I made hamburger helper. And that was a little bit harder. What is red 5,000? I have. Oh, that's not 5,000. That's Matthew Garrettson sent me $50 as a gift. As a gift. And it's a much appreciated one. That's 5,000 pennies. Or is it 50,000 pennies? 50,000 pennies. Now, hey Mary, how are you, darling? It's good to see you. So, the hamburger helper was a little bit harder because I cooked the ground beef. Again, fat is your enemy. I cooked the ground beef, very lean ground beef. I saw that fly. I cooked the ground beef, and then I put it in a sieve. I missed you because of the lamp. And then I put the ground beef in a sieve, and I rinsed it repeatedly with boiling hot water. And then I dehydrated it. Okay? So that's the ground beef. Lean ground beef, cooked, then rinsed under boiling water until you see no little droplets of grease in the water that it's running off in your sink. So then I dehydrated that. So I did dehydrated hamburger and dehydrated tomato powder, which I'm hoping to make some this year because that stuff's awesome. And dehydrated hamburger. You're going to have to figure out the amounts yourself, right? But I made dehydrated hamburger, and I had dehydrated tomato powder, homemade Italian seasoning, dehydrated peppers, dehydrated onions, right? Dehydrated celery. And then I would measure it in portions into bags. And the one thing I had to buy that I was not happy about was I had to buy Kraft cheddar cheese powder, which is full of chemicals. But it was the only way to make it a cheesy. And then I added egg noodles. Egg noodles. Egg noodles because they cook really quick, not pasta. I know. Almost all plants are an air purifier, but especially plants that are variegated in color. Do you remember me planting these guys? Look at this. Oh, come here, you. Look. Aren't they beautiful? And they love this room because this is where I do most of my medicating. I got an Excalibur dehydrator for a couple of years ago, and I'm going to make jerky tomorrow. Awesome! You got it for yourself. Good for you. Hi, Homestead Tessie. So when I had all the ingredients, I would put like a half a cup of ground hamburger, right? And then a cup of egg noodles and a quarter cup of tomato powder, right? And a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and then 2 tablespoons of Kraft cheddar cheese powder. And then I put them all in baggies with instructions on them, right? And so I send 6 hamburger helpers and 6 chicken and rice dehydrated. It was like, A, it was nutritional food for my son. B, it was really lightweight to mail to him, right? I was asking specifically for the hamburger helper that she's talking about. I'll look up and see if she has it. Oh, follow the instructions. I will send it to you, okay? I will, when I get back, I got to go take my bread out of the oven. I'll come back and I will put those 2 recipes for the chicken and rice and the hamburger helper on the thing. Oi! But whatever your dry ingredients are, you double the liquid. Ouch. That was my elbow. Sorry about that, folks. The bread had to come out of the oven, and it just doesn't come out of the oven. It's got to be come out of the oven and then out of the pans and then sweated, wrapped in. It has to be wrapped in the tablecloth, the sweat, so that it's not too crusty. And that oven, 375 degrees, pulling bread out is hot work. Okay, let me go. Let me just go for a second here. Over to our half-acre homestead. And let me look. Hang on a second. Okay. Here we go. Here's one. Let me just give you this here for a second. Here's the chicken and rice. And let's go back. And then here I'm going to show you how to make nutritionally infused rice. Nutritionally infused rice. Hey, is that PMS Pam? And let me go over. I'm just going to, since I'm here, I'm going to, I'm going to make real chicken and rice tomorrow. Hamburger helper. This is
Hey friends, this is Missable.
My God, I still have brown hair. How fast the gray goes. Hi, Pammy. How are you, sweetheart? Here you go. Here is the hamburger helper, and now I'm going to find you the video of dehydrating the hamburger. And here we go.
Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and today we're going to dehydrate ground beef.
Okay, here's this, and I'm going to give you one more, the dehydrating of the chicken. Because there's ways to do it that you... Oh, there it is right there, dehydrating chicken.
Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead,
yeah, I know.
And today we're
hush,
going to dehydrate...
Hush. Uh-oh! I lost you guys! Where did you go? Hang on. Hang on. All right, live. Here we are. And okay, now here is how to dehydrate the chicken. All right? And there you go. Now let me pop this up and pop out the chat. Now, did I miss anything? Bev, do you ever go back and watch your older videos? I don't have time to watch my new ones. I honestly don't watch my own videos because when I'm done thinking about them, setting them up, filming them, and then editing them, and then uploading them and answering questions, who has time to watch them? I usually rerun Mrs. videos in the background. Well, thank you, honey. But you're welcome, Homestead Tessie. Can I dehydrate stuff and for short term without sealing jar? Yeah, absolutely. When it's dehydrated, as long as it's in an airtight, and it doesn't have to be sealed, but in an airtight jar, like dehydrated hamburger or dehydrated chicken, you could put that in a container that's, with a tight lid on it, and it's good for up to a year, as long as it doesn't get humid, like get any humidity. You may want to put a moisture absorber in the jar, is all I'm saying, if you live in a really humid place. Hey, Mary Lindsay, how are you, darling? Yeah, I rarely seal my dehydrated stuff. Why? Because I use it too fast. I dehydrate. When I dehydrate, it looks like I do a lot, and I do. But we live out of that pantry. I think I got this much of a jar of dehydrated carrots left. So these older videos have good info in them that I've forgotten about when I first watched them. Well, I mean, that's why it doesn't hurt. Like, I've always said to people, well, just search my channel. But if you really want to know, the easiest way, I've been trying to tell people how to search my channel with the search bar. All you have to do is Google it. Google hamburger helper, our Half Acre Homestead. Dehydrated, our Half Acre Homestead. It'll bring it all up. Yes, Candy, I love dehydrating. I started wearing headbands just like you. Well, they're comfortable, aren't they? And it somehow balances out my face. I love my ears. Well, thank you, Homestead Tessie. I used to dehydrate like a mixed vegetable thing, but I don't anymore. I freeze my peppers and I freeze my onions. Sometimes, if I have a lot of onions in the freezer, once they've been frozen, you can dehydrate them without blanching, because they expand and contract, and the skins, the inner skins of the onions and peppers, kind of, once they thaw, they kind of separate a little bit, right? Thank you, Linda. I'm thinking about getting some cabbage this year when they go on sale and just dehydrating a bunch of them. That's what I'm doing. I am dehydrating most of my cabbage. If I get some really nice big leaves, I might make some cabbage rolls for the freezer, but for the most part, I'm going to, even if there's holes in my cabbage, because last year I got really lucky with my cabbage. This year, there wasn't enough. I don't think the Cracker Jack marigolds give off the same repelling property that the French marigolds do. So if you're growing cabbage and I grew them one year and they were riddled with holes. They looked like Swiss cheese. But you know what I did? I put them in a big bucket of cold water, and I mixed a quarter cup of salt with a quarter cup of hot water, or boiling water till it dissolved, and I poured it in that water, and I shoved down the cabbage, and the worms crawled right out of them. Right out of them. And then you can shred it and dehydrate it. So I don't really worry about it. It's only when you really want perfect cabbage for cabbage rolls and stuff like that. Purple green beans. Well, they're not purple green beans, they're purple beans. Were they purple peacock? Cherokee Trail of Tears? I don't know what I got out there. Keeps hair, exactly. Even when gonna have to trim my bangs soon. But Misty, hey, darling. Bev, was your mother and grandma such an amazing cook like you are? I didn't know my grandmothers, honey. And my mother died when I was 9. So I didn't learn to cook till I was a teenager. Like, yeah, we all knew how to make a boiled egg, like boiled eggs and toast, or a fried egg sandwich, or macaroni and tomatoes, stuff like that. But when it came to cooking, putting like 3 different items on a plate, I wasn't allowed to learn that because my mom died when I was 9, and we had a nuclear family. Does anybody know what I mean when I say a nuclear family? Some will call it a traditional family. My father went out and worked, and my mother stayed home. Now, she worked in the beginning. She worked in the beginning when my sister was little and my brother was little. And she worked right up until I think she was pregnant with Billy. But like she worked in crockery factories and all kinds of stuff. But as far as I knew, we were a nuclear family. Dad went out and worked and Mom stayed home. And even the high school kids, the older 3, took their lunches to school. But Bob and I had to come home for lunch when we were in public school because she figured we'd be weaned away from home long enough. So, oh, well, thank you, Claire Quinn. Oh, no. Oh, honey, no, it's okay. But when my mom died, my dad had to learn how to cook. I mean, it was a great joke, right? Because we had this place on Queen Street called B&B Fish and Chips. It is not the same place it used to be, right? The fish is paper thin and it's mostly batter. But B&B Fish and Chips, back in the late 60s, early 70s, the halibut was amazing. And it came wrapped in newsprint and newspaper. But my dad would take out a pound of hamburger out of the freezer before he went to work to thaw. And his cooking was horrible. And so as soon as Dad went to work, like, because my older brothers would my older brother would get Bob and I off to school. And as soon as Dad left, I'd put the hamburger back in the freezer. And he'd come home. And you couldn't do it too often or he'd catch on. But he'd come home and he'd go, I swore I took hamburger out this morning. And he goes, oh, well, and out would come the wallet, and he'd say, Billy, go down to the B&B Fish, get us some fish and chips, and get a little. He'd never send me for dessert, because I'd bring jelly rolls or chocolate cream rolls, right? Dad liked pound cake, right? So, and then Dad had his heart attack about 1.5 years after my mother died, right? He had a massive heart attack. He dropped dead at the ER receptionist desk. And it took them 20 minutes to get him back. And then he lived to be 73 years old, and he was 49 when he had that heart attack. So there's hope for my husband, for sure. And Howie's in really good shape these days. But then he had to relearn how to cook. And I tell you, the dietary requirements back then are so much different than what they are now. Things change. Like, oh, you can't have butter. That's a lie. Butter's bad for your heart and your cholesterol. No, your liver makes your cholesterol. Okay? Your liver's your filter and it makes cholesterol. Cholesterol's good for you. It's plaque in your arteries that causes the problem. But they say, "Oh no, you can't have butter. You got to have corn oil margarine, Fleischmann's corn oil margarine, which was made with genetically modified corn, by the way, right? And fat-free cheese and shit like that. It was just horrible. And Dad would make these. Everybody who knows me has heard this story. Is Dad would make these hamburgers with onions and hamburger and oatmeal and egg, but then he'd broil them and they'd come out like hockey pucks. They weren't burnt exactly, but you had to get to the very center of the burger to get anything that wasn't crunchy. Hey, Joanna, how are you? My trainer eats 8 eggs a day. Well, yeah, and they are precious memories. So I remember when I went to stay with my cousin Donna for a while in the summer, when I was like 17. And she would go out to work and they would go out and do things and they'd get me to cook. And it's like, I didn't know how to cook. I'd make French fries, I'd deep fry French fries and make hot dogs. And then her husband would come and go, oh God, this again? And it's like, so my cousin said one day, she said, Bev, why don't you make some stuffed green peppers? I said, well, how do you do that? So she said, you mix you mix hamburger and cooked rice and onions, and you stuff them into green peppers, and you put tomato sauce on them. You put garlic in them. So I didn't. When she said garlic, I took her seriously because she had garlic cloves on the counter. Well, I didn't know you're supposed to crush them and mince them. I just diced it. And when her husband bit into the stuffed green pepper and got a piece of garlic, he was like, oh, right? So it's like, but I learned how to cook. Pretty much I'm self-taught. I'm pretty self-taught. So, I mean, Howie will tell you, but by the time Howie came into my life, I was a pretty good cook, right? But there were still things, never, ever, ever use bran or bran flakes in a meatloaf. You'll have to throw it away. It's disgusting. Mayo in the burger mix. Really? I'm going to have to look. I'm going to have to try that. We've all had issues like that. My dad, born in 1926, taught my mom to make homemade bread. No, my mom made bread. My mom was born in 1926. No, my dad was born in 1926. My mom was born in 1929. So my parents were Depression babies. They were raised during, and my mom was one of 13 kids. Well, not 13, because some of them, there was twins that died at birth. And because my grandmother was a diabetic. She was of the first round of people in Canada to get insulin, my grandmother, for her diabetes. But she had like 13 kids, and they were, and when you're diabetic, babies get really big. And so the twins were born too early and passed. My dad was a twin. I'm surprised Melanie and Arthur didn't have twins, because my dad was a twin. There were twins in my mom's family. Arthur's biological father is a twin. So, right? Talk again soon. Going to make supper. Okay, Claire. I'm a self-taught cook also, but I did watch PBS cooking shows as a kid. Do you ever remember The Galloping Gourmet? Julia Childs? Butter. Lots of butter. Your hot dog relish that you make. We make it every year. I got to make some. I'm really hoping, because we're eating store-bought relish right now. And get this. When Howie went shopping last payday, I said, no name relish by the pint is on sale for $1. So is the mustard, and so is the ketchup. So when I said get relish, he I said, but get the no-name stuff. It's on sale. He said the shelf was completely empty. And he said once I realized it was $1 and they wanted $5 for regular relish, I said no. So we got this much Heinz relish left in a squeeze bottle that we had in the coach. If Jan can. Angie, where? Oh, she didn't get sent this. Hang on a second. I gotta share this with Angie. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back if I buffer. There was a cook when we were young, and his name was the Urban Peasant. And he's always the glass of wine. And there was this man from Louisiana that you ever hear me say, get that in there, Oh, yeah. So I'm talking about, it's that Louisiana cook in my head. So every expression I ever use, every tone of voice, every accent I ever use, I've picked up from somebody else. Who's the onion man? You need to make zesty zucchini relish from your fresh zucchini. Bloody right I am. That's why I'm hoping that the zucchini, because we don't eat the hot dogs very often because they can make you, I get sick. But we get in the summertime, we eat Shopsies, the jumbo Shopsies ones. Justin Wilson. But yeah, I'm hoping that I'm going to have lots of zucchini. I got little peppers growing. That reminds me I have to water the garden. You just mentioned, I don't know his name. I gave you the recipe on top comments. What recipe? Onion. Cajun guy was Justin Wilson. Okay. Well, he's an older guy. He had to be in like 65, 70. Well, okay, that's not that old to me. But Justin Wilson, I just love that. He's wearing the suspenders and he works real slow, but oh man. Can somebody tell me the difference between gumbo and jambalaya? My burger recipe with mayo. Well, we're out of mayo. I'm going to have to, Howie's going shopping on Friday. That's all there is to that. I'm making a lot of relish and pickles this year because my boyfriend will not eat pickles unless it's mine. Well, we just opened that jar of pickles from 2020 and I have another one in the pantry. So I'm not making, I'll make hamburger pickles, bread, we call them bread and butter pickles. But on a hamburger, oh my God. Or even in a potato salad. I love putting dill pickles in pasta salad or in potato salad, or sweet pickles in pasta salad. With okra and gumbo is not. I have pickles made from 2020, exactly. Awesome. I'm glad you wrote it down, Homestead Tessie. So yeah, I either make green tomato relish or zucchini relish. I've made it with cucumbers, but you know what? I don't even grow cucumbers anymore. Why? Because I can make pickles with zucchini. Next year, I'm hoping to make enough zucchini and green tomato relish this year that I don't have to grow zucchini next year. And I can grow canning pickles, or canning cucumber, pickling cucumbers, so that I can grow them and make some dill pickles. Love Paula Dean, but now she doesn't use any butter and she does not look so great. Okay. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But I will tell you, when they told you that butter is bad for you, it's a lie. That lard is bad for you. Everything in moderation, of course, but that lard is bad for you, that's a lie. Okay? That you should cook with vegetable oil, that's a lie. Yeah, you can cook with sunflower oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, I mean, there's all these healthy oils out there, right? But canola oil or no-name vegetable oil, those things are not good for you. They're really, really bad for you. So you got to pick these things carefully, right? I use avocado oil, olive oil, and cold-pressed sunflower oil, right? Ugh, chocolate zucchini bread. Oh, thanks for reminding me. I got to get some chocolate chips. It's chocolate chip zucchini bread. And you make that with butter and oil. And it is uber super moist. It is the best. And it's even better if you put medicated butter in it, you know? So I love having zucchinis in the garden. That's why I've got 3 beds of zucchini, 1 yellow, 2 green, and 1 yellow crookneck squash. Oh God, yeah. Zucchini relish is the best. Zucchini relish is the best. What would you suggest to do canned chicken or dehydrate since we have fresh chickens? Canned chicken or dehydrate? You don't dehydrate raw chicken. Unless you got a freeze dryer, and I don't even recommend it then. You don't dehydrate raw meat. That's not true. I dehydrate liver for Gracie, for liver treats. I'm a pre-diabetic, but I've been craving brownies and peanut butter cookies so bad. Well, why don't you make yourself some peanut butter cookies with just the egg, the peanut butter, and the brown sugar. That's all you need. You don't even need flour. I think you use a little bit of baking powder. It's 3 ingredient peanut butter cookies, right? Tomorrow or one day this week, I made a meal this week, and I should have videotaped it. I took a jar of ugly chicken. I would recommend canning chicken, and don't just can boneless chicken. If you can fit drumsticks and wings and stuff in a jar, can them too, with the skin on. Because I tell you something, I made an ugly chicken supper the other night. Beef jerky is dehydrated, right? But beef jerky is loaded with salt. Do you understand? Soy sauce, salt. That's why you can dehydrate it. Okay, so be really careful. And it's marinated, right? Good, it's cooked. But I can chicken breasts, which I probably won't be buying anymore unless they got a bone in them, because I don't trust stuff from the stores. I'm certainly not going to be buying any boneless meat from the U.S. because they're doing lab-grown meat now. So I don't trust dick all when it comes to that anymore. But I've got a pig coming and a side of beef coming this early winter, late fall. You can chicken with a couple of dried apricots. Karen, was it you who said dried apricots with apples and syrup? You can use monk fruit sweetener. That'll work. Absolutely. I recently learned that making your own oil, sunflower for instance, is pretty easy. The machine costs about $200 and would pay for itself. Really? Hey, Ninja Clan Kathy, how are you? Pitting cherries. I took, and I'll do it again. Maybe I'll do it with pork this week. I took a quart of my ugly chicken, which is drumsticks, canned drumsticks, right? Raw packed canned drumsticks. And I got it into a bowl, and I got all the jelly in actually what I did was I poured some hot water right into the jar, put the lid back on and shook it up a bit to melt the jelly and the fat in the jar. And then I poured that off into a pot. And then I stripped all the meat from the bones and put them aside. And I made green beans and instant mashed potatoes. And what I did was I took some flour and I started heating up that chicken fat, right, from the jar. And some bit of flour, bit of cold water in a jar. I shook it up. And when that fat was bubbling hot, I poured that in and I made a roux. And then I poured bean water from the beans into it, into the gravy. Then I added the meat. Oh, and onions. So I had chicken and gravy and onions over instant mashed potatoes with green beans on the side. Like, you know how you make hamburger gravy over mashed potatoes with peas? Well, this was chicken and gravy over mashed potatoes with green beans. It was really good. Let me know if you folks from our Half Acre Homestead want to see a video of that, and I will do it again. I've decided to stop buying meat from the grocery store, but I'm not a fan of lab-grown meat. Yeah, exactly. I saw it on YouTube, so it must be true. Oh, I'm glad everybody's... Hi, Cindy. Get to know your farmer and only buy grass-fed and finished beef from them. Honey, Howie works with a farmer. Because Howie works with a farmer. And we get... His beef is hay-fed, grain-finished. Not happy about the grain-finished part, but that's, you know, it is what it is, right? But they're hay-fed, and then they're grain-finished. And I buy a half a beef from him, and this year I'm getting a whole pig. Now, unfortunately, I can't get sausages from his butcher doesn't do sausages. He'll do hams, and he'll do bacon, but it's extra, and he'll do pepperettes. So I might get a ham. And the bacon, right? And I'm going to have then I'm going to get the loin chops, and the rest is all going to be ground, right? I don't necessarily I like the occasional roast, but we got more roasts than we did ground meat, and now we're out of ground meat because we use it more often. Hands are purple from cherries. Oh, I want to suck your fingers. Wow, that just came out of nowhere. Well, I was talking to Melanie and Bubba, and I was telling him how he got a hold of his feet. And I went, look at you! And we talked about, maybe when he's a toddler, you can get him into, baby gymnastics kind of thing. Because if I recommended anything for toddlers and little children, it would be gymnastics. Why? Because it teaches them the balance. It teaches them how to fall safely, right? And it works every single muscle group in the body, right? Are you canning cherries? So anyway, when I was talking to Bubba, I said, give me those toes. I want to suck those toes. He's got Grandy's thunder thighs. He's got Grandy's eye color and Grandy's thunder thighs. And he's got a twinkle. Oh, God, I love my grandchild. I love my grandbaby. And I can't wait. So, yeah, it's been, it was a lovely visit. So, there's lots of things you can do. Get to know a farmer, right? I know, I haven't seen Bubba. He's going to be 7 months old. Yeah, 7 months old when we go to see him. And I haven't seen him since he was 2 months old. So he's crawling and laughing and he'll crawl and then he'll sit up on his own. Now his crawling's still a little awkward, but he's trying to stand up and stuff. He's pulling himself up on things, right? They have toddler tumble time in a lot of yoga places and stuff. Well, that would make good. I make my lard all the time. My local butchers save me all the pork fat so I can make my lard, and they don't even charge me. Really? Well, I'm going to be making soap soon because I have lard from our last pig in pint jars in my pantry fridge. So I'm going to be making soap soon. There's a video coming up on our Half Acre Homestead. And that would be awesome. I should ask him if he, but I know a lot. This isn't necessarily a butcher. This is a meat processor butcher, right? So, but I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask for all my pork trimmings. That's a good idea. I'm going to ask for all my pork trimmings. They trimmed our beef extra lean, which I really like, but I would really actually think I would like some more fat left on my steaks and stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I would like all of my pork trimmings when they butcher that pig. You like my soap from clarifying fat? Yeah. These are things they don't want you to know. And when I say they, awake people know who I'm talking about, right? There's this whole thing that they're talking about. You know the chemtrails? They've been poisoning us with chemtrails, right? And blocking out the sun. Oh, the sun does not give you cancer. Sunscreen does. That's just my opinion. You do your own research. But if you do your own research, make sure you use a search engine that's encrypted. Okay? Can you ask the farmer to ask the butcher to save the fat that he would throw away for you? Absolutely. I will ask. Because I'm going to be making laundry soap again soon too. I don't care that my machine isn't energy efficient. Don't care. I'm getting to the point where we're not going to Costco anymore. Like we're going to do maybe 1 or 2 big Costco runs before winter. And it won't be meat. If I buy any meat, it will be Canadian pork loin, one of the great big ones. And I'll be making, because you can't make sausage from meat that's been frozen, make the sausage and then refreeze it. It's really dangerous to do that. Okay? You don't refreeze meat that has been completely thawed and then mixed with ingredients, and you don't refreeze that. So the best I can do, because all of my stuff, my beef and my pork, all comes frozen. So the best I can do is go to Costco and get a AAA grade pork loin, a great big one, and make my sausage patties and freeze them. Right? I've done that before. I'll do it again. I made my own laundry soap after many hours of research. pH is 9.78. Really? I don't know what that is. I use soap, ground soap, and I mean I've done it fancier ways, but I found out that if you put you should cut the borax in half, because borax is really hard on elastic, like in your underwear and your shorts and your tops and bras and stuff. Borax is really hard on elastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, grind up 2 bars of soap, use a cup and a half of washing soda, and a half a cup of borax. And if I'm doing Howie's clothes, I will just add more borax, like his work clothes, add more borax powder to the wash. By now, go on. Hi, Mary Jane. Geez, you've been very quiet. Hi, Edie. Going to feed the chickens. Glad I got to catch you live. Well, you take care. God bless. Darling. Charlene Weber. Our butcher will save it, but he always class me as old school because nobody asked for pig trimmings and they class that as waste, but I'm certainly interested in making soap. Well, you can make your own lard too. Now, I found out the hard way that when you water process your lard from pig fat, it doesn't taste very good in your pies. I don't know why, but if you grind it and you slow cook it in cast iron, right? Very, very slow so nothing burns. You can save the cracklings, right? And that is a better lard for baking with. But the best lard is the leaf fat. And that's the fat that surrounds the pig's organs and kidneys. Oh, no, it's Charlene. It was somebody else. We're saying bye to Mary Jane, honey. All the meat at our cost less store comes from Canada. The butcher said he was concerned that he wouldn't get all of his order. There, I don't know. I don't know. But that's a good question. Thank you for bringing that up. I think, oh, I've got to get off here and cook supper. I think, honestly, that I'm going to ask for not just the bones, but the beef fat trimmings and the pork fat trimmings. Still haven't done anything with that tongue. I have to go, being called to the table. My daughter made butter chicken. Hi, Ruth Smith. How are you? Well, listen, we've been here for an hour, and I've got to go make dinner. So, for all those who care to, now, if you don't want to stay for the closing spiritual nourishment of prayer, you don't have to, and nobody's going to judge you for leaving. But this is the part of the live stream where we reach out our hearts and our hands across the world, and we link up, and we drop the walls and the rules of religion, and we open ourselves up to the light of God's love, and it's that simple. That's one thing we can all agree on, is that the Creator's light is love. All good, all the time. All right? So, if you're leaving, take care, God bless, and I'm glad you were here. But for the rest of us, for all those who care to, take care, Charlene. Chemtrail. Oh, yeah, I was going to mention that. Okay. So now they're talking about throwing something else up into the sky to block the sun because the sun's killing us. Well, yes. If there's a hole in the ozone layer, the sun is radioactive. Okay? The ozone layer is what filters the radiation from the sun. Okay? So I'm going to say that the hole in the ozone layer was allowed to deliberately grow. Now they want to put shit up to block the sun. What are they doing that for? Well, we can't use our solar panel. Do you remember when the smoke from the fires? And we were trying to charge that thing, and it was a sunny day. We had a cloudy periods, but it was mostly sun. Howie showed the sun, but it was blocked by smoke. And so what happens if we don't have proper sun? Well, we can't grow our gardens, can we? We can't use our solar panels, can we? So if the government says it's a good idea, question everything and then go to an encrypted search engine and do some research. Because I no longer, my government does not give a crap about us. Okay? Let's call a snake a snake. Trudeau doesn't give a crap about us. He is this prince dictator in his own mind, in his own little hemisphere, right? And people are not buying it anymore, right? One quick last question. What to do when I'm allergic to the sun? You know, my cousin Dee Dee was allergic to the sun. And she went on a whole food plant-based diet. And it never bothered her again. So do some research about dietary changes and cleanses, right? Maybe you want to do some, don't get afraid of the sound of whole plant-based diet because it's doable. I've done it last summer. I lived all summer, right? What's to say those chemtrails doesn't make it worse? That is making it worse. One of the chemicals in the chemtrails, some guy put a jar out and collected it and added water, and he had it tested. And there was one of the chemicals was 80 times the safe level, and they're dumping it into our air. It's landing on our soil, it's getting into our water. I've never been more grateful to have a dug well. So you might want to look up dietary changes. Okay? And if you live in the city, get out of the city. Because city water is not good for you folks. They cannot filter out all of the medications that have been flushed down the toilet. There are some cities that have close to 30 different chemical medications in the water. All right? There's only so much they can filter out. Right? The butcher said they just pitch it. Well, I'm going to ask. Yeah, Turdo. Yeah, just inflation Turdo is what I call them. But that's, now they're censoring the internet here. They're starting with Facebook and Google. So I have to be uber careful. And whenever I open a video, I get it all in French because they just assume I'm French because I live here. Right? Anyway, we're down to 66 people. Let's do some deep breathing. Let's stretch out our hearts and our hands across the universe, the multiverse, the planet, and let's connect. And let's do some deep cleansing breaths, okay? Breathe in and breathe out negativity. Breathe in all this wonderful energy we've been sharing. And breathe out and kick off all the negative. Breathe in love and breathe out fear. Hey, Creator, God and source of everything, the multiverse, the universe, the aliens, everything. God, we come here today, as we do every Sunday and Thursday, and we enjoy each other's company, and we share ideas and thoughts and love and support, and it really is one of my favorite places to be, is with these folks. And God, we can support and love each other, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have love, that don't have support of families and friends, that are maybe, suffering with medical issues or family issues or anger issues or addiction issues or rejection issues. There's all these negative things that we face every day, God, that enshrouds us in darkness. Well, God, we ask for all those people that don't have this support system. We ask that as we lift them up to you, God, that you pour the warmth and the light of your divine love down on these people. And even if they don't realize it, help them through. Help them to continue putting one foot in front of the other and getting through one day at a time. Because God, we know that's all we have is right here, right now. And so, God, I want to thank you for all of our friends and our YouTube and internet family as we come together and share experience, strength, and hope. Because, I love them, God, like you taught me, right? And together we are a support system, supported by you, God. So thank you. Yes. Thank you for showing us the truth too, God. Amen. Shalom. Namaste. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part. Miigwech. Blessed be. Walk in the shining light of God's love. But know that when we fill ourselves with God's love, and we shine with it, and we park the darkness wherever we go. And that's good for everybody. And when we stand next to a person that's shining, then our shine grows. And it's by osmosis that everybody around us picks up on the shine. Take care. God bless. I'll see you Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay? Take care. God bless. And For Little House Live, maybe we'll do a bedtime reading tonight at 9 p.m. on Reading with Beverly Wolfe. We are reading Farmer Boy. All right? Take care. God bless. I love you guys. Don't forget. Don't think that those are idle words from me. Ever, ever. Why? Because I can love you with all my heart. And it doesn't cost me anything because we get it back tenfold. Right? Two emotions in the world, love and fear. Which one's going to rule your life today? Take care. God bless.